What are the odds? Year 4 of a recurring show here on Locked On Pacers, where we pick arbitrary odds on some huge topics heading into the season for the Pacers with Jimmy Cook. Will Ben Mathurin still be on the team at this time next year? Will the Pacers win more than 40 games? Can Johnny Furphy crack the rotation? Who's starting at center? We get into all of it today on the Locked On Pacers podcast.
You are Locked On Pacers, your daily Indiana Pacers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Congrats. You made it through another week, and welcome into another edition of the Locked On Pacers podcast, where we, of course, talk about the Indiana Pacers, as always. My name's Tony East. I cover the team for Forbes, and today, one of my favorite shows again. As you know, I love recurring shows here on Locked On Pacers. What are the odds? Jimmy Cook and I pick odds for some what I would consider big topics about the Pacers heading into the season, and the winner is who gets more right given their odds. Jimmy beat me last year, as you'll hear as we run through it this year. Much closer. It came down to the final topic, which happened in free agency about a month and a half ago. This year, how many games are the Pacers going to win? Are they going to trade for a center? Is Ben Mathurin going to be back? Who's starting at center? Johnny Furphy making the playoffs, rotation questions. We get into so much today and put odds on all of it happening for the Pacers this year. Really fun show. Really great stuff with Jimmy. Let's just get right to it. You guys know I love my recurring shows, and this one among the best. What are the odds? Year 4 now, and I am now 1-3 after another defeat. Joining me to run through last year's results and talk about this year's odds is local sportscaster himself, Jimmy Cook. He's back. Jimmy, hello, sir. How are you? How did you celebrate your victory that you just found out about 10 minutes ago?
Delicious Coke Zero, kids. That's the way that we do things. Not a sponsor of anything Locked On Pacers or a sponsor of me, but they are the victory drink of choice tonight. Pretty good. Because I know usually we will go through those and where the wins were. And there's one in particular that while it hurts the Pacers fan in me and it hurts the fan base, I feel pretty good about. But no, I'm good. I have my title down there. What are the odds king to go along with Noah Ball. You keep letting me win these, I'm going to be a Game of Thrones character. It's going to be first of his name, and I'm going to get a long list of Breaker of Chains and Noah Ball, the whole nine.
So one of the ones you won is the upset of all time in one of the odds, and the one that actually separated the answer was the most stunning one, and they both happened last month. So very frustrating defeat for me. Let's run through 2024's what are the odds that I made up. Win more games than 2023. You said 100%. I said 65%. They started like crap. I was looking good. They were the second or third best record in the NBA from Christmas onward. Jimmy Cook at 100% gets 35 points for that.
Put them all in. Put all the chips in, baby.
The Pacers were, in fact, better than they were 2 years ago. The upset one, and this was the second to last decided one, that had this one flipped, I would have won by 19 points. Miles Turner is under contract with the Pacers this season. Had that one gone my way, I would have won. I said 70%. This was last summer, by the way.
This
Jimmy
was he will 40%. Be, correct? This will be he will be. That was the wording? He will be under contract.
Miles Turner will be under contract the next season. I said 70%. You said 40%. Unbelievably, 40 was correct. Plus 30 for you if that flipped, because the final score margin was Jimmy by 39 points. I would have had it. Unbelievable. The other shocking late upset, guy who signed 2-year contract with team option last year, James Wiseman is back, was one of our ones from last summer. I said 74%. You said 85%. He tore his Achilles. He got traded, and he's still back. Our odds were close enough that one would not have flipped the result, but that one was the came out of nowhere upset. Man. Good pull from you, even though in the most unexpected possible way.
Yeah. I mean, I figured that one was dead to rights when he goes down with the injury last year, right? And there's so much. I know this is an NBA and a Pacers pod, but like, there's so many just random reunions happening across sports right now. Like Adam Thielen's back on the Vikings. Amari Cooper's a Raider again. And, by the way, James Wiseman here. Here he goes. He's long-time Pacer great, James Wiseman.
Run
is back with the Pacers. Yeah.
Yeah, that one was – so it came into free agency with like 41% still hanging in the balance. And I was thinking I could win, and then two big blows to me in a row.
Did you, by the way – and I'm not trying to put you on the spot because, to be clear, Tony East, grade A reporter. Tony East, very talented at what he does. Tony East, one of my favorite members of not just Pacers media, but all media.
Yes.
I'm not trying to put into question the work that you do with all that praise. At what point in the off season, or were you as shocked as everybody when the Miles thing happened? Like, did you feel it start to turn, or were you like, oh wow,
No.
I didn't see this?
Never felt the turn. Totally shocked. And like, all right, I'll give you a tiny bit inside baseball. So like, I spent the first 2 hours after that doing the rounds, text this guy, call this guy, see if anybody will like help me figure out what's happening, like how this is happening and all that. And I didn't tweet because I wanted more information. I was like, okay, I don't want to just come in and be like, yeah, he's leaving. And multiple media other people text me, were like, are you okay? Did you see this? I was like, yes, I promise. Yeah, I thought I'd be back. Truth serum. I think the Pacers thought he'd be back, right? They offered him a contract. So yes, I was pretty surprised.
Look, I know this isn't the point of the episode, but since you are my Pacers platform nowadays, and I'll keep this very short and sweet. Look, this is what I said on this show last year. It's what I said during my tenure at one of our favorite shows, Querying Company over there on 92.5, 107.5 The Fan. The way it played out, this was the right move. Financially, you could not afford to make that type of investment in him. Now, I will admit, because I'm not like every hot take artist, even though that wasn't all that hot taking in my mind. It was a strong opinion.
You said 40%. It's not like you thought he was
No. I don't mean, yeah, you're right. But I mean, big picture, because I've always been in that camp. I love Miles, but I didn't think he could be the third best player on a championship team. I was a game away from being wrong. Like, I was a game away from having to eat that crow, and I would have gladly eaten it. But, say la vie, prayers up for Haliburton's recovery. Obviously, I would trade Miles Turner being with the Pacers for the next 15 years at an overpay for the Pacers to have won that game and Haliburton to be healthy. That's not the way the chips fell. And they didn't. I don't know if there was all those back and forth reports. Let's say they were given the opportunity to match Milwaukee and they didn't. By the accounts, it sounds like they weren't given that chance. You couldn't do it. You could not invest that level of money that Milwaukee was willing to do with the state of where the franchise is right now. So while I will miss Miles and I don't know what they're going to do at center, we'll get into that here on What Are the Odds.
Hey, we got that coming.
This was the right way for things to play out.
If they were given the chance to match Tony East on the record, I think they should have. But I digress. This for months. Also, to be clear on the first two, win more games than last year. We both said it was more likely than not, although you were way more correctly confident than me. And Wiseman
that was also one where I forgot the rules. I forgot the rules of the game and went 100%. And you were like, what? And I was like,
but
no,
I
stand by it.
appreciate that you aren't like game theory guy. Like I'd say 65%. You're like 66. I picked 66. Like, shut up. We also both said more likely than not Wiseman is back. If you told me towards Achilles in the first game, I wouldn't have said 74%. But hey, we both ended up being right. This one's the funniest one. I take because you remember this. We recorded about August 16th this last year.
Literally the same time.
At the time, TJ McConnell was an expiring contract. And our fourth question was, will TJ McConnell be retained? And then like less than a week later, he signed an extension and legally could not be traded last season. So yes, he was very easily retained. That was our closest odds. I said 49%. You said 54%. So you win that one by 5%. It was right on the line. They got a very nice extension on him with lots of fluffy, nice, non-guaranteed years in the back that made it worth extending him, even at an old age. So kudos to the Pacers for a good extension. And happy to TJ McConnell for throwing out the first pitch of the Indians game. I'll talk about that. He said he wanted it to be a strike. TJ was not a strike. just a bit outside. So
I didn't see it. Did he bounce it or did he?
No. He got it all the way there. He
good.
practiced. It was noble. Yes. One of Ben Mathurin or Jarris Walker is traded, a very hot button topic last year in the summer as the way for the Pacers to get better. And then Jarris was kind of important in playing when they were bad, and Mathurin was starting and playing pretty well. I said 40%. That was way too high. You said 10%. Congratulations. Both of us said less likely to happen than likely to happen. We were both right there, but you smoked me once again, Jimmy Cook. Congratulations. Plus 30%. They're both still on the team. And now even more important and in a similar position. Okay. I gave myself the win on this one. And yet we have to technically discuss it very quickly. Starting lineup is changed based on merit midseason. The president of the Ben Mathurin fan club, Jimmy Cook, said 100%. I said 49%. It did change many times during the season. I say every single time was because of injury, but I understand someone disagreeing with that.
But what did you score it? What did you score it as?
A win for me because every time they change the starting.
I don't care. I already won. I'm not going to fight you on that. I was going to, if it wasn't like, no,
I mostly gave it to myself because you won anyway.
That's fine. But also like
So here we go. Ready?
I don't think there was a clear point where Mathurin was that, because I was arguing for that. I was arguing because Mathurin was likely to be sixth man out of the gate. And my argument was you can't do that. He's a future face of the franchise or co-face the franchise. He needs to be in what at the time, year 3? Yeah, year 3.
Yeah. Yep. Year 4 coming up.
You need that promotion to him. That's going to change, and it never really did because of that. So no, I will.
He almost, if he had started the rest of the season after Neesmith came back, I would have given you this one because that lineup was working and he was playing well in that role.
Fair.
But they clearly switched to who the 3 was because of Neesmith's injury, and every other goofy starting lineup in November was because everybody was hurt and Quentin Jackson is starting. And okay, these do not count as on merit. The last one, a starter is traded. Many questions last summer. Will the Pacers upgrade at what position? You said 51%. I said 30. Finally, my first clean, obvious, no doubt win. 111-72. Jimmy Cook takes. What are the odds? 2024. Let's go to this year. Same first question every single year.
Our fifth? Is this the 5th I've done?
This is the 4th you've done.
4th you've done.
Year 4. Yes.
So I'm 2-1 all time.
You're 2-1. Yes.
All right. Okay.
Congratulations.
This best of 7 is very intriguing. It's a long 7-year series. I love it.
I will take that as a contractual commitment to doing this every season.
Absolutely.
Right, good. I have done win more games than last year every year. I will not be doing that this year. I do not think anyone reasonably expects the Pacers to win more than 50 games this year. Not saying there aren't fans who think that, but no. I will go just above their over-under, and I will say 40. Do the Pacers win more than 40 games this year? What are the odds you would give me that happens?
Where's the over-under at, you said?
38.5 is their over-under.
38.5.
Some places say 37.5.
And what are the odds that they will win more than 40, you're saying?
Yep.
Can you do homework for me on live right now? Is that possible? It is one question. It's one question. So, what was the win total of the 10 seed last year in the playoffs?
37, I believe.
All right. I will say there is
on that until I double check.
Okay. I'll think about so
the 10 seed Bulls won 39 games last year.
Okay. I will say a 40% chance that they
Wow.
No. I think it's going to be a bad year, man. 35% chance they win more than that.
35. Hater Jimmy Cook alert.
Yeah.
Picks 35%. I ran through the schedule and I landed on a crisp 42 wins. To be honest, I picked the last game as a win just so I could say I picked him to finish over 500, even though my heart said probably 41-41 is a reasonable season. Because I picked over 40, though, I think it's more likely than not. I do think there is inertia-related and good draft pick opportunity-related reasons for them to potentially want to not go flying over 40. Like, what's the point of being the 8 seed instead of the 10 seed? But their schedule lays the way it may. They still are going to have
because they don't do that.
Yes. I will say 50. Now I'll say 60%. Screw it.
Okay.
60% for me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, they don't do that, right? Like, we know historically they don't tank. They don't try. Like, the only way they would not try to go after a playoff spot next year is there's not a way. Everybody's going to have to fall over and die, and it's going to have to be taken from them. It's not going to be they chose to go down that path.
And the other problem is the East sucks. So you just got to trip your way to the 10th seed. Okay. Next year, when we do win more games than last year again, I think we're both going to smash a nice 100%.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Move on with our lives.
Call it
all
now.
Right. Everybody, quick break so we can talk about Game Time. College football is back. Go Hoosiers. And honestly, there's nothing better than the energy of tailgates and being in the stands with your fellow fans. The only downside, trying to get tickets. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices that jump at checkout. Yuck. That's why I and you should use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. The easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices. No surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. Pull it up. Go check it out. Purdue, Ball State, Hoosiers, anybody, whoever it is. Amazing deals, your favorite college football games, as low as $25. The app makes it simple. You get your seat view. They have zone deals if you pick a section. You always know exactly what you're going to pay because there's no hidden fees. Cheaper, less stressful. It's the best way to buy tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKDOWNNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. Back to the fun transactional stuff. This is always fun because it's like a time capsule for me to go back and look at last year what the buzz was about positions and moves. Last year, we talked about Miles Turner. This year, we'll switch it up. What are the odds, Jimmy Cook, that the Pacers trade for a starting center this season? They have Isaiah Jackson. They have Jay Huff, but they definitely need somebody better if they're going to compete when Tyrese Haliburton comes back in 1 year. By the time, actually, I should rephrase this. By the time the next season starts, will they have traded for a starting center?
I want to fight you on this. I think it should be if they don't make that trade before the deadline.
Okay. I'll keep it as this season. Because
I think that if you open the window too far, like, not that it's not fun to have it come down to the wire, but we wind up with that whole Miles thing, right?
You're right. Because no, but that's the point, right? They're a free agent the following year. That's the point. This is different. You're right, though. You're right.
Because since it's exclusively trades, right? Since it's exclusively trades, I think we should confine it to the league year.
Okay.
And technically, the last window to trade would be the deadline. Correct? I'm right.
You
on
agreed
that,
to league year.
But I'm right on that? Correct. The league year would end. The trade deadline is the end of trading in the league year.
No, they could trade on draft night next year, and it's still this league year. Pre-draft, let's say that.
Yeah, pre-draft,
Okay. All right.
Before the draft.
And then give me your answer. Actually, no, you go first.
You want to go first or you want me to go first?
No, you go first.
Okay. This is without having any knowledge of expiring contracts. This is without having any knowledge of like, I'll be honest with you, world. I didn't go in and prep for the pod for this question to think, give me all the list of teams in the NBA who might be wanting to get rid of a center. 51% chance.
Okay. I like that answer. So this one is hard because of their goals and unknowns right now. So they clearly want to be good when Haliburton's back. They kind of want to be good this year, right? So they by the time he's playing games, they need a center, like probably a better center than the ones they have. However, I think they would like to really know with certainty what Jackson or Huff's ability level is before that happens, right? Because what if Huff's really good? Like everybody thinks. What if Jackson's back to normal? The problem is if they're both good and then you trade for a center, now a good player is out of the rotation. That's not good.
You want to answer? Can I answer both questions for you?
Sure.
Neither one of them are going to be starting caliber centers. So
I think that's possible.
Like we can. That's not to say, and I'm going to stick by my radio rules and not curse about it here because I think this is a family show.
You can't. Yes.
What'd you say?
You cannot.
All right. Thank you. We're going to not disrespect them because they're talented players. They're NBA players. I think they are depth and backup centerpieces largely for their careers. That's how it's been, and that's how it's going to continue to be. Yes, give them a fair shake, but I can answer that question for you now. They're not going to be. And so because they're not going to be, how are you mapping this out? Are you going to draft a center next year or find a big, like a stretch 5 or a stretch 4 that you can play in a hybrid position? Are you going to go the draft? Are you going to go free agency? And I don't know what it looks like in 2026, but are you going to try to pay for somebody there, a la the like Hartenstein route, like try to find he might have been traded for, I can't remember, but you get what I mean. Are you going for somebody else's bin? Or are you going for your own through the draft? And because my answer is 51%, I rationalize it as teams are going to want to deal at the deadline. And because center is such a weird position, and I trust Kevin Pritchard and Chad Buchanan enough, I think the Pacers can kind of skate and navigate a deadline deal to find a big that's not going to cost you what Miles would, but that is serviceable in a Rick Carlisle offense, if that makes sense.
That's plausible, yes. So it's not about those two proving they could start. It's which one's better, because the winner
Fair.
that's going to be the backup when they eventually do trade for
that's true.
A better center. I mean, I suppose it's possible one of them's good enough that they're happy with that and being the starter, but yeah, they definitely need something there. And to the point about the draft, people keep saying this, like, well, they could just draft a different center. Like, they could. You're not drafting a center good enough to start with Tyrese Haliburton's ceiling right away. Like, you can't. Maybe that's your bench guy or something, but you can't do that. So they need to trade for a center. They need them to be on the team by the start of next season. The timing is tricky. Like, being buyers during this coming season might be kind of awkward if they're just like a middling team anyway. Why are you buying now? But like, you need the player for the future. That's why that little sweet spot where they're probably going to be under the tax before the league year flips next year is going to be interesting. I will officially say that I think it happens after the draft, and I will go like 35%, but it's very obvious why they could do it. And draft night specifically, when it does happen now, is going to be tough for us to decide who actually wins that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's well. So are we saying day of the draft it's over, or are we saying before the clock starts moves can still happen?
I have typed pre-2026 draft, so that would be the second the clock starts for the draft, it's over.
Okay, but I'm pulling out a lawyer hat.
Okay.
Sham's tweets don't count. It's when the facts got to the league office. So if it's a reported trade, but it doesn't go through until after the draft,
an email from Pacers PR to both of us is the time of day that this is concluded.
Yes.
Officially.
Yes.
I'll go a step further too. If they're going to find the matching salary and the answer is Jay Huff as their starter, I bet Isaiah Jackson is in the trade for that player, unless Isaiah Jackson is the better center than he would not be. So,
okay, I like that.
But it's just how the salaries work. Okay. The big free agent, Jimmy, he's extension eligible right now. Your guy, the odds to you that Bennedict Mathurin is on the Pacers next season. Not this coming season. He's on the team right now to start next season.
To the best of my knowledge, Tony's craft for editing has not gotten to a point where he's going to have the wherewithal to clip this and then play it at next year's What Are the Odds? So I can speak freely here. You see that? See that right here? See that here? That's What Are the Odds of King. That's what that says. It says no or a ball. Put those chips in the center of the table, my friends. 100% Bennedict Mathurin as king of the Bennedict Mathurin fan club is on the Pacers next season. I look, I understand. There's frustration. There's still some growing pains. Does he fit in the system? Does it stick when it's in his hands? Is he a below average defender? All of those at times have been fair criticism. But what I have seen from Bennedict Mathurin year over year is growth. I've seen him continue to grow as a player.
He's gotten better.
Will I pump the brakes a little bit and say, is he further behind than I'd like? Yes. I would like it to have been confidently at this point that he is Tyrese Haliburton's running mate. And you can't.
I think the Pacers also would have hoped that.
Yeah. And I think everybody involved did. Right. Yeah. So you can't comfortably say that. But when I look at the Pacers and what the market is and how hard it is to win in this league in markets like Indiana, and I apologize to the audience if that picked itself up. I don't know if it did because I have noise canceling earphones, but I did the podcast outside, and some clown on a motorcycle loves to speed past at 8:35 here in Carmel. If you didn't hear that, then I'm sorry for drawing attention to it. But the point is, Tyrese Haliburton, Bennedict Mathurin, I saw that being a 1A and 1B. Has that come true to this point? No. But you've seen enough of the flashes of what makes Bennedict Mathurin special, and I still believe he can be your top 3 player on a championship team. And the way the Pacers go about acquiring players like that is very difficult due to both cap constraints and just the reality of life in the NBA as a small market team. I believe they have to be right on Mathurin to extend this championship window. I believe they will be right on Bennedict Mathurin to extend this championship window. And as president of the Bennedict Mathurin fan club, he will be an Indiana Pacer. Book it 100% guaranteed going into the 2026-2027 season.
So despite all the questions about his fit and like he is extension eligible right now, and I've talked about why I don't think that makes sense for the Pacers or Mathurin to want one right now, I think we've seen that the odds are in favor of him being on the team, even if he doesn't have that great of a year, because of how challenging restricted free agency is. Like Kuminga, Grimes, and Giddey, and Cam Thomas, like they're stuck, right? They're stuck. And so even if this season isn't like perfect for Mathurin, like he doesn't lead the team in scoring like some think he can, he doesn't answer some of the fit questions, maybe they trade him midseason, but like the odds would still be in restricted free agency that the Pacers would just match and then have him as matching salary, or like because even if he doesn't have a good year, he's still a good player, right? And he's still young. So
yes,
I think the odds are above 50% certainly. And he could also get extended this summer, which would answer the question immediately, like with McConnell.
It's going to happen next week now. We know it, right? It's because one of the odds has to be finalized.
Every player who scores 20 plus points per game makes like a lot of money in the NBA. Yeah. And the Pacers' financial situation does not really fit that in. That's the downside, is like if this is a fit question and a money question, it's tricky. Maybe Mathurin wants an extension more after seeing how tricky restricted free agency has been for some guys this year, but there's more cap space next year. I will say 80%, but I was closer to 75 there, but I'm going with 80.
This isn't as big a swing now as I thought it was going to be, because I thought you were going to go totally the other way. So now I feel
no. It's not a low chance. It's not a low chance.
I will add one thing to it. I only see one pathway that he gets dealt, and that is they look at where things are at moving forward. They commit to, and I've made the claim here, I think that it's tough now to do with your team in shambles because of Haliburton. I think that Nembhard. Well, I mean,
fine.
You know what I mean?
A rough year.
That's the point. Like for this year, I don't mean long term, but you're in shambles from what I'm about to say. It was easier when Haliburton was healthy for me to make the claim. I think Nembhard could start somewhere in the NBA as a point guard outside of Indiana. I don't think he's just exclusive. I don't think he's just exclusive here.
Yep.
Like, I think he could start somewhere. I truly believe that.
Agreed.
And that's not a big leap because he's already starting an NBA team. But there's still a lot of naysayers, I think, that'll be out there that'll say, well, are you really going to keep Nesmith, Nembhard, and Mathurin? And if you bring up that point that you're not going to keep them all, who gets dealt and who has the most value? I still, as the Bennedict Mathurin fan club, want to argue Nembhard is the better piece to move because starting point guards at a high level like he plays are also hard to come by. And I think it's better for the long-term asset-driven thing. But I think so many believe in Mathurin's upside like I do that he would probably get the bigger package. And so that's the world where he gets dealt, is they get an offer that they can't refuse that helps the long-term health of the franchise. They bet on themselves to find a comparable talent in the future and not close their championship window. Outside of that, I don't see it happening.
You put what are the odds king for your title. Next year, I'll put Bennedict Mathurin's agent right on there for you, Jimmy. Make it nice and easy. One more break here, everybody. We got to talk about FanDuel. The NFL season, it's almost here, and FanDuel is making sure you are ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, if you're a new customer on FanDuel, you bet just $5 on anything. If your bet wins, well, good for you, because you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the rest of the FanDuel app. So many reasons to love using FanDuel. Fits however you like to bet. They have player props. You can build your same game parlays. You can jump in live as the action unfolds to feel like you're a part of it all. Makes every game more exciting, whether you're just watching your favorite team or you're keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup or you're just trying to enjoy something a little bit more. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the best way to add a little more energy into your Sundays. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app right now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Let's rapid fire through this one. I wanted 2%. To talk about this player a little bit. Johnny Furphy becomes an everyday player. Last year, Jarris Walker was kind of in Furphy's position. This year, I think he is player 11 with a chance to play when there's injuries. Will he play well enough that by the end of the year, the consideration is, yes, he has to play over somebody else?
No. Just because the season could be really weird and you don't know how injuries are going to happen. Are we counting that? Like if people start dropping flies? No.
Okay. We know the context. It's like with the starting lineup change.
It's like the Mathurin thing. It has to be a clear. Okay. And we're defining that as what? He's in the 8-9 man rotation.
The Pacers are fully healthy and everyone says Johnny Furphy has to play today. Sorry, Ben Shepherd or Jarris Walker or whoever.
Okay. He's in your 8-man rotation consistently.
Yep.
8 or 9-man rotation. Okay. 30%.
Yeah. I would also go in that range.
You said rapid fire?
Yeah, we got to go through quicker for a couple of
30%. 30%.
One of them. I was going to say 25-ish because that would be my follow-up to the Mathurin point. Is the other way for Mathurin to go sideways is he's just too expensive for them to retain if they trade for more expensive center and they can't afford him without going well over the tax. The way you're more okay losing Ben Mathurin is if one of Shepherd, Walker, or Furphy is awesome and you have another guy in that role-ish. They're obviously way different players. Like Mathurin's the best scorer of those guys by far. If you have a healthy rotation there regardless, it's easier. It's not fun. It's not easy. It's easier. And Furphy is one of those guys in that mix. And after Summer League, I'm like, I still would obviously put Shepherd and Walker over him, but that is why
anybody remember Chris Duarte? I can't get that out of my head whenever I see
rookie team member. He was that good.
Yeah. Whenever I see players that like were really good shooters in college that were also like supposed to be, and Furphy, to be clear, is in a far better trek than Duarte was, but it's just scar tissue there. And I will concede Furphy's Summer League was sensational.
In 2029, Johnny Furphy will be the same age Chris Duarte was in the Pacers.
That's nuts. That's crazy. That is insane. I think Furphy is an everyman player of expendability, and like, while what he's done is even further, I think, than anybody expected when he got drafted last year. I think he's expendable. I think he's easily replaceable. I think he's closer to the guy that you see when it's a 20-point blowout or it's a solid win versus the guy that's giving you everyday minutes significantly.
I'm a Furphy believer, but I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means I think he'll be a good bench player, a low-end starter. I think he's good. Like, I think he knows.
Does that mean you don't have the T-shirts printed? Is that what that means when you're not a believer, but you're kind of a believer?
Kevin Bowen's a statue guy. You're a fan club head. Like, I'm not like a thing. I just think he's going to be good.
You made me fan club head. I never claimed that title, but I accept it. I add it to my list.
You can have it.
Okay.
Okay. This one is about starting center. I've made my case for who I think it will be, but I'm not confident. I've said 55-45. And so I'm just going to use that as my odds, but I want you to talk about it too. Isaiah Jackson starts more games than Jay Huff this season. I've said I think 55% chance Isaiah Jackson's the starter. I think he knows the system better, and they paid him like somebody they want to have on their team. However, Jay Huff certainly is more Miles Turner-y with his skill set. And good news for Jay Huff, he's not coming off an Achilles tear. There will be certain games that Isaiah Jackson just straight up doesn't play because of that Jay Huff will then be starting. So that's a good chance for him. So I think that I would still lean Isaiah Jackson as my answer here, but this one is very close. I will say 55% Isaiah Jackson.
Can you give me the wording again one more time, please?
Isaiah Jackson starts more games than Jay Huff.
And you went 55?
Yes, I did.
I will go in the interest of like not being that guy that you said that I'm not, that you don't like. That's 54%, please. Yeah. I will say the health thing is the only thing for me. The health thing is if he was fully healthy and there was no injury concerns, I would say 75% because I think Huff is just a backup piece that was brought in. What he played, I think I can't remember, 60 some odd games last year for Memphis or something like that. He started 2. I just think he's a depth piece, right? Like you can never, especially where they were a year ago, you can never have enough depth at that position, especially without Miles. I will say, and I'm sorry this is so close, I don't want to do it this way, but it's just the way that the Jackson injury stuff is making me do it. I'll say 60% Jackson plays more games.
Starts more games.
I think the only I love everything you said about the system, his knowledge of what Rick Carlisle wants out of his units, him being a pretty solid role player as it is. That combined with the fact that I think the only way we're wrong is if he gets injured and Huff just is the de facto center or they trade for somebody, but that all that would matter is who started more games at that point. I think it's Jackson. I'll go 60%.
I like that. We've had 2 very close ones in a row, very reminiscent of our TJ McConnell answer last year and our James Wiseman answer last year. All of our rest last year were quite far apart as our first couple were this year. Okay, we did our record predictions, but this one is very much in the balance. The East is interesting. Jimmy, what are the odds the Pacers make the playoffs? They play a series, not a play-in game. They are in a best-of-7 series.
Can you go first this time? I feel like I'm going first every time.
Yes, you've gone first more than me. I will go first this time. In fact, I went first last time. I think that's the only time. So I'll actually go first for all the rest. So I obviously said I think they're going to win more than 40 games. You did not. And the East is two really good teams. Two teams that I think are going to be pretty. Oh, sorry. I should say they are so I can make this out. I think Cleveland and New York are going to be really good. I think that Orlando and Atlanta are going to be pretty good. I think Detroit's going to be most certainly good. I think Milwaukee, Toronto, and Miami are going to be the next crew. And then the Pacers and the Bulls and the Celtics are that final tier. I'm bullish on Toronto, and I don't think anybody else is. So I think the chance the Pacers make the play in or better is pretty high, especially if Toronto doesn't click. Maybe Philly sneaks in there and makes this complicated, but there's a chance the Bulls just suck again. They won 39 games last year. I have no reason to think they'll be better. I'm not that high on the Heat, who won 37 games last year and have the same guys handling the ball all the time. So I think there's certainly a good chance the Pacers are top 10, meaning that already their default odds of making the playoffs are 25%-ish of just getting through the play-in tournament. But if you're the 7 seed and you just said there's a 50-50 chance you win a play-in game, there's a 75% chance you make it, 25% chance you don't. So higher than 75 would be reckless of me, even though I think they're going to be a about 500 team. So I will officially put my stamp on this answer as 41%. 10%. If there was no such thing as the play-in tournament, I would say over 50%. But the play-in tournament existing is what like one fluky night and you're just out.
10%. I think they're going to be really bad.
Woo.
I think they're going to be really bad. I think there's way too much strain on this roster without Haliburton. I don't see a world
10%.
where you don't have. I don't see a world. You said make it, right? You said make it.
Make it. Yes.
So I'm being the emotional gambler, right? I'm not playing the analytics side because you're right. The way you broke it down is perfect. If you get into the play-in, the math is going to be there with how bad the East is. They could probably win it. I mean, if you look at, just for example, ESPN had power rankings come out either this week or last week that kind of mapped out where teams stand from a playoff group to a play-in group. If the makeup is Milwaukee, Boston, Philly, Miami, and the Pacers, they're not playing in the playoffs. So I'm gonna bank emotionally and say that even if they get to the play-in, which they very well could.
Give me the Celtics over Pacers argument. Chris Boucher and Luka Garza is their starting front court. I can't get
again, I'm telling you just based on emotion, right? That's all it is. It's an emotional play. And it's also for what are the odds, right? Like this is the type of thing that, look, this is the type of thing where you laugh at me now and you give me that incredulous look. And then when it hits and I win by 10, it's because I took a gamble like this and rolled the dice. And so I'm going to say 10% because here's what I have happening. This is terrible. So I'm not going to name names because I'll be run out of town, even though I live in Hamilton County. So, I'm safe.
If Ben Mathurin's as good as you say, I'm surprised you're as down on the Pacers as you are.
Now you're
quite the bind.
What'd you say?
If Ben Mathurin's as good as
No. What was your number?
41%.
That they make it to the playoffs.
They are playing a series, yes.
So you're on the north side of 50. You also don't think they're going.
Well, I think that if there was a straight 1 through 8 no play-in tournament, yes. But even if you make it, the odds you don't get out of the play-in.
What was your number?
41.
See, you ruined the game. 40%. 40% they make it. There you go.
This is
40%.
This 1% difference won't matter at all. I'm not changing it. You get 10. You're getting 10.
Here's my thing. No, I'll stick with 10. I will stick with 10. I have in my head, and I'm not going to name names because again, people are going to run me out of town. I have a terrible injury happening this season.
Oh no.
Just because of how overextended I think it's going to be. I know. I understand that. Just let me finish. Something's going to happen very bad with this roster because they're going to be overextended trying to just make the playoffs because that's the end goal of this franchise is never tank, always make it. I have visions of them losing to the Hornets or the Wizards or whoever it was, like they did that one year in the play-in where everybody the next day is like, golly, like, God, everybody sucks around here. Like, what's going on? That's what I have happening. So 10%, they don't make it. Hope I'm wrong. Hope Tony is king of the odds next year. And I hope we get to watch some Pacers basketball, but 10%, they're not making it.
Yeah, they destroyed the Hornets in the first game. Keelan Martin playing game stud, and then Russell Westbrook kicked their butt in the 8-9 game. Good times.
Simpler times, one might say.
simpler times. The Pacers were the first team ever to win a play-in game and the first team ever to win an in-season tournament game in Vegas. How about that for some stupid trivia for you?
Do we hang banners for that? Is that
well, they didn't win the finals or the play-in tournament in either of those events. No, they do not.
That's in a museum or an archive. That's not something.
I should have put the in-season tournament in these WTFOs. Okay, last one. I don't know if they're going to be buyers or sellers because I don't know how good they're going to be or how they're going to be thinking at the trade deadline.
Well, you said they're going to win a playoff game, so you know.
I said they're going to make the playoffs. I said no such thing about winning.
Okay, sorry, make the playoffs. My fault.
We'll see who they play. The odds a rotation player, any of their top 10 perceived right now players, is traded this season. Same thing. You know what? Same thing as with the center trade. We'll say pre-2026 draft.
And what did I say for that? Do you still have that in front of you?
Yes. You said 51% for that.
So a role player or above is traded.
I told you I'd go first.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm sorry. I let you think and think and think. And then I'm going first anyway. Okay.
I got to brush off the hamster back.
The answers for this are the young guys who it's unclear what their future is with the team. If I think you have a clear role on the Tyrese Haliburton Pacers, you're probably not a member of this club. So there's a couple guys who fit that category. But I would say like the Mathurin, Shepard, Walkers, Furfies, the centers of the world are still like good, but figuring it out on the mix to be moved. They don't have any financial reason they need to make a trade. And I think standing pat or being smaller in their moves is probably smarter this year. And I think trading most of those players, or any of those players, would be somewhat significant bet right now. Mathurin's the only expiring contract on the team, but they have restricted free agency with him. So I will say the chance of rotation players dealt probably less than 50%. They did not trade a rotation player last year. 2 years ago, the only guy, the two guys were Bruce Brown and Buddy Hield as they kind of transition their team. So I will say about 30%.
So 30% chance that a role player or better is traded?
Rotation player is traded. Yes. Any of their perceived top 10 right now.
Okay.
Here's the real winner. Furphy becomes a rotation player, everyday player, then gets traded.
It's a big swing. And I said 65% that they trade for a center?
You said 51% they trade for a center.
Okay. I'll say 60% that they make a trade. I think that there is a world where the Pacers look at this roster, and even if they realize that they have until next July to really make that big swing move to maybe shake up the roster, figure out who your third best player is, or who's your Miles replacement on the roster. And clearly I'm Mathurin biased, we've made that known. I just have a hard time thinking that if you're making a trade, that it's not one of the three that we referenced earlier of Nesmith, Nembhard, or Mathurin. And so I think they find something at the deadline that doesn't help them win this year, but it's one of those where it's like, man, they're getting Haliburton back next season and they're set up like that. God, oh my goodness. Buchanan and Pritchard did it again. Like I think that's the type of thing that happens. So I'll say, what did I say? What number did I throw out there? I don't want to contradict now.
60.
I've already forgotten. 60% chance that role player better, rotation player is traded before draft day next year.
This is going to be fun. This one is going to be so interesting because most years going into the year, it's pretty clear what they're trying to do.
They have no idea what they're going to do.
What the tails of outcome are supposed to be. This year, it's kind of like, well, God, I guess. This could go.
No, I know what they're trying to do. We know what they're trying to do at their core. Well, we know what they're not going to try to do, right?
Yes,
they're not going to try to be bad and try to tank. So
they're not going to sell, and they're not going to try to be bad. Yes.
So how aggressive the only way they would sell, and it's not really selling, is upgrading for the future. Like they make a clear move that's maybe not going to help them win this year, but that would help them for Haliburton's return the following season. I look at everything, and they're just not going to. They're not going to try to be bad. The thing that could also make a trade happen, Tony. And, I don't want to, this is me being conspiratorial, cue the X-Files theme, tinfoil hat here. If they're really bad and attendance drops and interest drops after you were just in the finals 6 months earlier, how impatient do the Simons get? Do they meddle at all? Do they decide, wow, we don't want to not make the play-in or the playoffs at all. We need to go make a move. Like, how do they get involved to the point of, hey, our mantra is we're never this team that's supposed to be in the lottery. We need to go make a move right now. That's why I kind of lean towards 60% for a trade as well, because I think things could get rough enough where they decide we got to make a change. We got to shake something up.
We'll see. Here's the thing about trades. Even if I don't like them when they happen, this front office has earned like pretty much blanket trust that they know.
Yeah, they do. Yep.
Like I think it's fair for anyone to critique anything they do, but they're good. They're good.
Much like me at What Are the Odds? Carte blanche, I think, is given to.
On that note, goodbye, Jimmy Cook. We'll see. That is our 7 topics for the year. Let me know who you think wins. If you'd like to list your odds, go ahead. I will not put them in the spreadsheet, but I'll mentally note if they're much different than me. That actually could be kind of fun if I put in a bunch of fan answers and see who.
No, here's what you do. Or I don't know. You're the numbers guy, so you can figure out a way to make it work. Set it up like as a Twitter poll, so it's like the collective Pacers fan. Give them like 5 or 6 options, and then you can put those majority answers in the spreadsheet.
Everybody, if you're listening to this today, Jim, I didn't tell this is coming out on Friday. Check the Locked On Pacers Twitter feed. I think there will be some polls for you.
Right.
That's a good.
You're welcome for that free idea, by the way. That's as
Send
what
the
are the odds
invoice for your
I'm happy to.
Your consulting fee. Send that to Patrick at billing.com. He'll get back.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'll let.
Am I allowed to plug anything on the way out the door? Do you still do that with your guests?
You are, sir.
You can follow me on Twitter at the J Cook. Big stuff going on throughout the Roncalli High School season, as well as always tweeting out whatever is on top of mind, be it Chris Ballard and the Colts being Chris Ballard and the Colts. It's Daniel Jones season, ladies and gentlemen. And then some.
Check out Lockdown Colts for more about the very uninspiring decision to start Daniel Jones.
Good plug there on your part. So yeah, follow me on Twitter, all platforms at the J Cook, and as well as hear me on the Roncalli Media Network Friday nights for Roncalli football and other developments as well. Stay tuned at the J Cook for sure.
We love developments. We love Jimmy Cook. We'll be back to do this again next season, and of course, Jimmy will be on. Several times. I don't know what the right way to describe it is throughout the season.
Be careful. I'll hold you to that.
Our DMs on Twitter is just me sending you links like a needy child. So yes,
I can share the dates, Tony. You're very predictable. I'm just saying.
I have a rotation. Yes, I do.
Okay.
You know this.
I know you do. But to quote another sport, Tony, I would like to be, one of those playoff rotation guys. Literally an arm. Just you know what's up. You know what's going on. I'm not saying that I need to be Garrett Cole. I just want to be Luis Hill, okay?
It's not that I don't think you're talented and don't like talking to you. It's that I don't like to repeat people.
I want to be Cam Schlittler. That's a real name. It's not a curse word.
I don't know who that is.
The Yankees rotation guy. He's probably going to earn himself an opportunity. I just want to be Will Warren. I'm done.
If they're not on the Phillies, I cannot help you. The Phillies are fine. They cannot win at Citi Field. I'm depressed. Okay. I thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll be back after Labor Day. So enjoy your long weekend of no Pacers. And then we're back to every single day, baby, starting next Tuesday, talking about the 2026 offseason, talking extensions, all sorts of fun. Thank you, everybody, for listening today. We'll see you very soon.